I arrived early because I always do. It feels like courtesy, like proof I'm taking the day seriously. I chose a table near the window so I could see the door without craning my neck. The host asked if I wanted to order while I waited. I said I'd give it a minute. Minutes slid into shapes. A server refilled my water. Another party laughed too loudly, and I tried not to borrow their joy. I checked the time, then put my phone face down, then flipped it back over. I imagined the family text bubble inflating, then bursting into apologies about parking or traffic. I practiced the smile I'd wear when they arrived, casual, unaccusing. After an hour, the host asked again. I ordered coffee. I ordered cake to be ready when they came. The words came out like a plan, something I could hold. When I finally texted the group chat, it was neutral. Just hit, are you guys close? No emoji. No blame. I watched the dots appear, disappear, then appear again. My brother replied. We did brunch without you, he wrote. You always make it about yourself. The sentence rearranged the room. It turned my waiting into a flaw, my anticipation into narcissism. I typed and deleted 3 responses. I imagined explaining the reservation, the cake, the hours. I imagined how each explanation would be received, like evidence in a trial where the verdict had already been reached. I didn't reply. The server came with the coffee and asked if the rest of my party was running late. I said no. I asked for the check for the cake to go. She hesitated, then nodded with a kindness that didn't ask questions. On the way back to work, my coworkers saw the box and did what people do when they're not trying to win anything. They asked. They clucked, they decided. Balloons appeared from a supply closet. Someone lit a candle with a shaky hand and laughed when the flame went out. It wasn't perfect. It was better than perfect. It was unarmed. I took a photo because the moment would evaporate if I didn't. Cake on a paper plate. Balloons drooping like tired punctuation. Smiles that were not curated. I typed best birthday ever because it closed the door. Not because it was true in every sense, but because it was true enough to protect the part of me that needed a boundary. The call came fast. My mother didn't say hello. She said my name the way you say a warning. She said I had embarrassed the family. She said people were asking questions. She said I was petty, dramatic, cruel. She said I had always been like this. I held the phone away from my ear and let the words hit air. When I brought it back, I didn't interrupt. I listened until the shape of the argument revealed itself. It wasn't about my feelings. It wasn't about the brunch. It was about control, about who got to narrate the day. She demanded I take the post down. She demanded I apologize. She demanded I explain myself to my brother. I said I wouldn't. The silence on the line was brief and dangerous. Then she told me she'd handle it. She did in her way. Messages followed, long, detailed, instructive. Calls at hours meant to catch me unguarded. When I didn't answer, she called my workplace. That was the moment the story changed shape. HR emailed me with careful language and a meeting request. I walked in expecting to feel small. Instead, the room was neutral and bright. The director listened without interrupting while I explained, simply, that a family member had been contacting the office about a personal dispute. I didn't show screenshots unless asked. I didn't editorialize. I stuck to dates and facts. They were calm. They were unmistakable. They said personal matters could not come through company channels. They said they would address it. The call stopped that afternoon. No apology arrived. No reconciliation followed. What arrived was quiet. The kind that lets you hear your own breathing again. At home that night, I scrolled past the photo and didn't flinch. It hadn't ruined anything. It had marked something. A line I hadn't known how to draw until I did. I thought about the restaurant window, the door I watched, the version of myself I'd prepared to perform gratitude for scraps of attention. I thought about the cake that traveled with me intact like a small, stubborn promise. The family chat stayed silent. The next week, a message arrived about something ordinary. No mention of the birthday, no repair. I answered with a thumbs up. It felt appropriate. I don't know what happens next. I know only this happiness can be a shield without being a lie. Dignity doesn't have to announce itself. Sometimes it just stays where you put it, even when someone tells you to move. I went back to the restaurant months later with a friend. I chose the same table. I ordered cake. I didn't look at the door.